Yes, sorry. I think Sanjay has just quickly clocked off. If you can just tell me which city you're joining in from. Welcome, Srishti from Nasik, Nikhil from Hyderabad, Vaishnavi from Dubai, New Delhi, Mumbai, India. Great. Thanks so much for everyone who has joined in. We've got close to 100 people here.
Yep. Thanks, Sharang. And sorry, I don't know what happened there. My Zoom just conked off, but yeah, technology fails us once in a while. So those of you who are here and are able to hear me, just let us know the city you are dialing in from. So I see a lot of people from Mumbai, some from Hyderabad. I see Naman from Bhopal, Nirav from Mumbai, uh, Maisar Ali from Gujarat, Rahul from Mumbai, Shreyas from Pune, Nagpur, Lucknow. Okay, so a lot of different cities being represented over here, quite literally the length and breadth of the country over here. So thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to be hosting all of you today evening. What we are going to discuss today is something very interesting and very relevant in today's times. We are going to talk about emerging job opportunities in the US post STEM masters. My understanding is a lot of you who are in this session today are at some point considering your higher studies, either in India or outside of India. I'm assuming a lot of you are looking at outside of India. That's why you've joined this session. And today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is around career opportunities and what are the emerging trends in the job market, especially in the United States. So we are going to get to that discussion very shortly. But before I do that and we get into that discussion, I quickly want to run our polls for the evening. So you'll see the polls go live on your screen just about now. The questions in front of you are, firstly, are you planning to pursue a postgraduate or a master's program in the United States? So if you're looking to pursue your higher education in the United States, if it's a yes, then yeah, choose yes. If you are surely not going to do that, then it's no. If you're unsure, then that's the third option. So let us know if you're planning to pursue a postgraduate or master's education in the United States. The second question on the same poll, which is live, is what do you find most intimidating about taking this initiative? So my assumption is those of you who are in this session, almost all of you are in India, you're looking to pursue your master's education in the US. So in that case, what do you find most intimidating or most scary about taking this step forward and taking this initiative? All right. So I see the responses come in. Around 50 people have responded already. I'm going to keep this poll open for another 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. So if you haven't yet responded, please do so. Please look at the poll and please do respond. The questions in front of you is, firstly, are you planning to pursue your postgraduate or master's education in the United States? If you are, then yes. If no, then no. If you're undecided, then that's the third unsure option. The next question in front of you is, if you are looking to pursue this master's education in the US, then what do you find most scary or most intimidating about taking this initiative? All right. I'm gonna get into a spotlight and have more focus on myself. So I see almost 60, 65 of you have responded. Almost 50% of the audience have responded as of now. I'm going to keep this open for another few seconds. I still want to get a feel of the audience and what you're looking to get out of this particular session. So the polls, those of you who have just joined us and are able to hear me, the polls are live on your screen right now. Those of you who are dialing in from your mobile phone, you'll have to click at the bottom right. There's going to be a pop-up and you can see the poll questions over there. So click on that and respond to the poll. Let us know, firstly, if you're planning to pursue your postgraduate education or master's education in the United States. And if you are, then what do you find most challenging, most scary, or most intimidating about this initiative? Is it making your application? Is it the uncertainty around job prospects, career prospects? Is it arranging the documentation, transcripts, mark sheets, all of those? Is it getting a good enough GRE, IELTS, TOEFL score for securing an admit to your dream school? Is it funding, financing that is scaring you? Or is it something else that scares you most about taking this initiative? All right. So I have around 75 responses. With that, I'm going to end the poll and share the results with everyone. So what I see is around 60% of the audience today is at some point looking to pursue a postgraduate or master's education in the United States. Around 36% are unsure, so they are fence sitters. Possibly this session would help you take that decision, make up your mind whether you want to go ahead and take that initiative or not. And then only 5% are clearly know about this thing. But I'm glad that you've still joined us. You still want to know about what the emerging opportunities are in the job market, and thank you for joining us. When it comes to the most intimidating factor, as I had suspected, the highest voted or the highest or the most intimidating factor is the uncertainty around the career prospects. We have heard a lot of bad news coming from the market over the last couple of months, and possibly that's playing on your psyche and scaring you. So the uncertainty about career prospects is the topmost factor or intimidating factor. The next factor is funding and financing. So where do you get the money? Where do you get your loans and funding for to pursue this education? Then it's about getting a good enough score, making your application, arranging documentation, and then some are scared about something else as well. So great, thank you for telling us that. This is extremely insightful. And those of you who are intimidated by the uncertainty in the job market, today's session is going to be extremely relevant, extremely insightful for you. We are going to be interacting with George Washington University's engineering school. We are going to speak to their admission staff. We are going to speak to their career services staff. We are also going to interact with 3 or 4 of the alumni today and get a feel about how they went ahead and cracking the job market in the US post completing their masters in the US. So we are going to speak to them, speak to all of them, and understand about the emerging opportunities, the support that the university provides, and of course, how do you go ahead and crack your dream job in a challenging market like the United States. So first, I'm going to invite Erin Watt from the admissions team of GW to tell us about the resources which the school provides to its students. So we'll speak about the resources. Then we are going to speak to Jessica from the career services team to understand the support they provide to students in their job hunt journey and what are the emerging opportunities trends that they're seeing. And then we are going to interact with Vaishali, Anya, Hildur, and Niranjan to speak about their job search journey and how they crack their dream jobs. So with that, over to you, Erin.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having us here today. I was glad to see that a lot of people in our audience are both considering studying in the US and have uncertainty about their career prospects. Not that we want people to feel uncertain, but it means that we're here doing the right session today, which makes me happy. We always want to be sure that we're able to speak to the audience and help answer questions and share information with you that's really valuable in your search. So that's great news for us. My name's Erin Vogt, and I am the Senior Associate Director of Recruitment and Admission for graduate engineering programs at GW. So that means that I work with prospective students while they're thinking about joining an engineering program. I work with them throughout the application process as they have questions about completing the application and what happens next. And then, we support the I-20 process and getting the students to the US when they begin their programs. So it's a great job. I help make a lot of people's goals come to fruition, and that makes me very happy. It's very rewarding. So we'll be happy if we have the opportunity to work with you on that journey as well. So let me walk through a few slides today. And as I believe Sanjay may have already mentioned, but we will take your questions. We're very happy to be here and answer your questions directly live with our alumni. So please feel free to put questions in the Q&A as you have them. I'll be brief, and then I'll pass it over to my colleague Jessica from Career Services. She has some very interesting stuff to share with you about the career market in the US and the type of opportunities that exists for you as an international graduate student. And then our main spotlight today is our alumni who are willing to join us and talk to us, introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their background, and talk to us about their journey through their graduate program into their current career. So I hope, can you see my slide okay? Emerging tech opportunities. Yep, great. Okay, so let's get started with just talking briefly about why study STEM in the US. So as I understand from the poll, like many people on the session today might be a little bit uncertain about if this is the best fit for you. And I hope that will help you determine that throughout the course of this presentation. So some of the great opportunities that exist in the US for students are a very high demand job market, which is something that we're here to talk with you about today. An education model that teaches students to really think critically, to challenge norms and expectations, to think outside the box, which is especially important for our engineering students, to determine new ways of doing the same thing that you've always done, to innovate, to do things differently. And that's really our education model. It encourages students to challenge and ask questions. We have a very interdisciplinary approach to education. That's a strong theme at our university at GW, but across the US in general. There's a lot of collaboration between subject areas, between departments, students coming together across disciplines for presentations, for research, and that sort of thing. And finally, in the US, we have some of the top universities in the world, and we have really strong equipment for students to use. We have resources, cutting edge resources for students who are working on technology. And so for a lot of engineers, this is a really important part of the search process when you're thinking about joining a university, is what kind of computers, what kind of systems, what kind of tools will you have access to learn about and conduct research on during your studies. So as I mentioned before, the high demand job market is sort of what we're here to talk about today. So I want to help students think through, how do you access that high demand job market if you want to study in the US? And the main way that I feel that that's going to happen for you is really standing out and succeeding in your graduate program. So to do that, you need to find the program that's the best fit for you. What's a great fit for another person may not be the right fit for you. And you're going to excel and do the best in your program and stand out when you're happy and when you're satisfied and when you really feel like you've found your home and your community at a university in the US. So as part of the search process, you should think through some basic questions and ask some basic questions as you're considering universities. So looking into academic program details, this is the first thing that people talk about, like what is the subject areas, what is the length of the program, that sort of thing. But look beyond that. What research are faculty doing at that school? What kind of labs do they have that they're working in right now? What projects are they working on that are really interesting to me? Because those are the people that are going to be teaching you in your degree program, and you're going to have access to and influence by those projects that they're working on. Are there opportunities to gain work experience? So if you're interested in career and STEM work opportunities in the US, you want to gain work experience throughout your program. So whether that's paid or non-paid, whether that's research, whether it's CPT, which my colleague Jessica will talk to more outside of the university. There's many ways to gain work experience during your program, but how can you do that is a good question to ask. What networking opportunities can you take advantage of? So really be thinking about every interaction that you have as a student is a networking opportunity. Your students, your peers that you're working with, they might just be 1 year ahead of you. They graduate and get a job at a place where you'd love to work. And guess what? That's your friend. That's a connection that you made during your studies, and they can tell you when they know about a great opportunity. This is something that our career services office really focuses on, is helping to build connections. And that is something that we can help guide you on, but it's really up to the student to build those connections with peers, with faculty, with mentors, with anyone you interact with in your program. And finally, the alumni network. So as I mentioned, this is a highlight of our event today, and we're so happy to have 4 GW Engineering alumni with us today. And we hope that they'll be able to answer any questions that you might have about their experience in the US. This is an invaluable resource to students to have the connections with people that have gone before them and have been successful. A very quick glance at this slide. This is a lot of information. I'm not going to read it all to you, but I put this together just based on sort of the frequently asked questions, the FAQs that we get from students as they're considering programs. So these are things that you might want to think about and ask as you're considering other universities as well. So what type of programs do you have? Do you have the subject that I'm interested in? Are your programs STEM designated? We'll talk about this more later, but a lot of students want to have the maximum opportunity to work in the US. So STEM designated programs allow you to work up to 3 years. So that's a key question that a lot of students have. How big is your alumni network? How many students do you have studying on OPT? Is it something that your school is familiar with and experienced with? So these are a lot of the questions that we get from prospective students. And finally, I'm going to wrap it up here and turn it over to Jessica. But I just want to mention student resources. So we spend a lot of time talking about the program. How many credits is the program? How many courses do I have to take? What are the subject matters I have to take? But really think beyond that when you're looking at a university. What type of other resources are available to students? We have, for example, just at GW, we have our Career Services Center that we're here to highlight today, but we have professional advisors for every student in the program to help walk you through the steps of completing and graduating from your program. We have health services for students on our campus. We have libraries. We have writing and tutoring centers to help you if you get to the US, to your program, and you're struggling. There are all these different resources for you to reach out to again be sure that you've you've settled into your best fit and that you're, going to succeed and really stand out in your program. We have a lot of support for that, and that's what we want to see our students achieve. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica now, who's going to give you a lot of information about career opportunities, career services, and we're really excited to take your questions later on in the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jessica Palermo. I am the Senior Career Counselor here at George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Science Career Services Center, and I oversee the career strategy and the career counseling for our department, and I also work with students. So any admitted students, any students that do end up coming to SEAS, hopefully I will get to meet you. So career services here in the United States might be a little different than what you've been used to. So some ways we're different is that here, especially at SEAS Careers, we don't do placement. So we don't place students in jobs. So what we do is we provide you with complete support to help you ideally get your dream job. So how do we do that? Well, the first way is we offer one-on-one career coaching and counseling. So you're working one-on-one with one of our career services staff members on a multitude of services. And I have a lot of our services here listed, and we could briefly go through some of them. One of our very frequently used services, and these are services that a lot of higher education and career services departments offer. One that, again, our office very frequently utilizes are resume, cover letter, and CV reviews. And that's when, again, you're working one-on-one with a staff member to review your documents, because oftentimes US standards will vary from international standard. So having someone to go over how to get your resume, how to get your documents ready when you are internship searching, when you are job searching, and we're able to assist you with that. And that goes into your searching strategy. Do you have a strategy you're utilizing when you're job searching, when you're internship searching? Our office works with you to develop an efficient searching strategy. So you're utilizing your time the best, you're figuring out the best way to apply to jobs to, again, ideally get you into your dream role with your dream company. We also offer appointments that focus on personal branding and your online presence. And this also goes into with networking. So are you utilizing LinkedIn? How are you branding yourself online? We have those types of conversations with you. We also have conversations about interview preparation and do mock interviews. So are you prepared for your interview? Do you know how to properly dress for your interview? What type of interview style are you going into? And then that goes into, hopefully you did amazing at your interview and you are getting a job offer. Do you know how to review that job offer? And do you know how to negotiate that job offer? These are, again, very important conversations that maybe are different than what you've previously been having, or didn't know maybe you can negotiate your salary. So again, I mentioned networking briefly, but this is a very big part of our strategy. You know, we want you to be utilizing our alumni resources. We want you to be utilizing the network that we've built. So having conversations on how to properly network. Our office also has conversations with you about different ways potentially you can be utilizing funding and scholarship opportunities. And then we have lots of opportunities and resources for international students. So we don't want you to feel like you're looking for things without any support, we have so many resources for international students. And then throughout the year, we also offer different workshops and events. For example, this month, we actually have one on resumes and cover letters. So depending on what the needs are, what the interest is at that time, we'll offer different workshops to help students become more career ready. And that's ideally what we want. You know, we have different career fairs, we have different recruiting events where we bring in employers throughout the year, and we want you to be career ready. We want you to be confident when you're meeting with these employers, with these recruiters, so you're ready when you're having these conversations. And something really exciting that we have is we also have a lot of technology that we utilize. So Handshake, VMock, JobScan, these are different technologies that our office utilizes, and the students at SEAS careers or at SEAS are able to utilize. Handshake is really great. It is a platform that allows students to apply to jobs. Employers are able to post jobs. Employers can actually reach out to students directly through Handshake. And also students can register for events. And what's great about Handshake is you're able to view events all throughout GW. So even outside of just the events that our school at SEAS is having, you can potentially go to events throughout all of GW. So it gives you access to a lot of events. And this is also where you would schedule appointments with our office. VMock and JobScan are two really great AI tools for resumes, cover letters. I really like how JobScan has the ability to see how well your resume is being optimized for jobs you're applying to. And this is a great technology that allows you to be more competitive in your job search. So a lot of employers are using some form of an applicant tracking system. So this allows you to see how well your resume is matching that in a sense. So are you using the type of keywords that employer may be filtering based off what's in the job announcement? So we have the type of technology that, again, can help you really remain competitive in the job market today. And something else that is a huge benefit of being part of GWC's careers, and a lot of university offices at GW offer this as well, are that we have student employment opportunities. One in particular reason, though, that I think it's great to be a student employee for our office is we have a lot of opportunities for professional development, and we really work with you if there are different skill sets that you're interested in focusing on or developing. We really work with our students to try and figure out how we can help them develop additional skill sets. So again, it's really great to get those additional skill sets for your resume. So you're gaining, again, more ways to help bolster your resume. And you're also getting kind of that really deep insider look at what makes a successful job search, how to be very successful when you're navigating your career path. So then when you are doing the career search yourself, you kind of have all of those insider tips. And you can learn more about our resources at the link at the bottom. So I'm sure this is what a lot of you are very interested in, the job market, because yes, there is a lot going on in the news, but I do have good news that Washington, D.C. has a lot of tech opportunities. And actually an article that was just posted last week by the Wall Street Journal titled "Silicon Valley Layoffs Means Washington, D.C. is a Hotter Tech Hiring Market" noted that actually Washington, D.C. and New York City now have more job openings for software engineers than California. So Washington, D.C. has become an extremely hot market for tech, which is great for GWCs, for our location. You know, we are right in the center of Washington, D.C. So it really is great having all of those opportunities where we're located, and DC really has a lot of opportunities. And what has been happening now, tech opportunities a lot of these opportunities are becoming more popular, or they're growing in non-tech industries. So for example, retail and consulting, healthcare, a lot of opportunities in those types of industries are really growing. And also too, the Occupational Outlook Handbook is showing that overall employment in computer and information technology occupations is projected to grow 15% from 2021 to 2031, which is much faster than the average for all occupations. This increase is expected to result in about 682,800 new jobs over the decade. So that's a lot of jobs. So even with everything going on, there still are a lot of jobs that are happening within the tech field. Another fact or another data piece are that for software development engineers, there was a 139.5% increase. And for back-end engineers, there was a 121.5% increase in 2022 compared to 2021. So even though, again, we're seeing all of this in the news and it can seem very negative, there still are so many opportunities out there for tech. And some careers and some skill sets that are very fast growing are in artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and data. So skill sets, again, around those types of career paths are very much in demand. So knowing your status is important as an international student. So we'll talk a little bit about CPT and OPT. So curricular practical training, CPT, is permission granted to F1 students to engage in an off-campus internship related to your degree program prior to graduation. You could kind of think of CPT as similar to an internship, but it has to be related to your field of study. You must have a job offer from an employer before applying for CPT, and part-time CPT is approved for 20 hours or less per week, and full-time CPT permits employment greater than 21 hours per week. We have a lot of students that engage in full-time internships through CPT over the summer. And some schools in the United States, some colleges require, or it's part of their program, CPT, others it's optional. So CPT is definitely something to think about, if you're interested in an internship and the type of program you're looking at. And then we move into OPT, which is optional practical training. And OPT provides international students with practical on-the-job experience that is directly related to the field of study and appropriate to the degree level. And F1 international students who have been maintaining their status for at least one full academic year are eligible for OPT. And unlike CPT, you do not need a job offer to apply for OPT. 12 months of OPT for each higher degree level is available. And then there's also something called STEM OPT extension. So all C students are eligible to apply for a 24-month extension of OPT. And then this is actually in addition to the 12-month post-completion of OPT. There's a great website down there at the bottom, Study in the States. I definitely recommend checking it out. I think it's a great website. It kind of is for students, so it describes CPT, OPT in a very student-friendly manner. So if you have any questions about CPT and OPT, that's a great resource. And then we also have an international services office at GW. So they're a great resource at GW too, if you do end up coming to GW in the fall or later on, they're a great resource to utilize. So as an international student, we have a lot of really great career outcomes. We have a large international student body at SEAS. So these are just some of the many employers that international students have ended up working for. On our website, which is on another slide we previously looked at, but you could also look through program-specific career outcomes, which is great. For example, if you want to look at what the career outcomes are specifically for computer science, or if there's a specific program, maybe you want to see the career outcomes for, you can. But here are just some of the many international student career outcomes. And you can see if you're interested in computer software, we've had some graduates end up going and working for Microsoft and Cisco, or maybe you're more interested in working for a consumer organization. We've had international students work for Apple and Nordstrom. So we've had a lot of international students end up getting some really great jobs after graduating from SEAS. So I know you've heard a lot from me today and from Erin, but what is it actually like to attend SEAS and navigate the job searching process? We are so happy we have alumni here to talk to you about that experience today. So I will pass it, I believe, back to Sanjay to introduce our alumni, and they can tell you a little bit more about what it's actually like to attend SEAS.
Great. So I'm actually going to invite each one of them to introduce themselves. So starting with Anya, if you can start with telling us a little bit about your journey before SEAS. So what were you doing before coming to GWC? And then what are you doing currently? If each one of you can do this, it would give the audience a good feel of what background you came from and where you are currently. And we can start the Q&A from there.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Anya Welch. And right now I'm on vacation from Trinidad, which is actually where my journey started. I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago all of my life, and I played water polo while I was in Trinidad, and the water polo coach actually at GW was the person who reached out to me and told me about GW and told me about the amazing engineering program that GW has. So I ended up going and seeing GW, and that was how I decided on GW and loved it. I played water polo there. I did a 4+1 program at GW. So that means I got my bachelor's in 4 and then I did my master's in 1. So that was kind of my journey up until GW. And right now I work at a company called CMTA. It is, at its core, it's a mechanical, electrical and plumbing firm, so MEP firm. But I specifically am a sustainability engineer. So I do basically all of the math-oriented things, all of the analysis, all of the LEED or WELL certification that buildings do. And I can go more into it if needed. So I can pass it over to someone else to introduce herself.
Great, thanks, Anya. Hildur, if you want to go next.
Sure, thank you. Good to see everyone. Hi, my name is Hildur. I originally come from Iceland, where I got my bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. While I was still living there, I worked in the renewable energy industry there, working both in quality management and then also forecasting. So I had a couple of different job experiences from there before I came here to the States in 2020. Started my master's degree at GW in the fall of 2020, did my master's in systems engineering with a focus in operations research. And while I was studying, I did an internship with Amtrak, with CPT, as we have heard about. And then currently I'm working in consulting for a company called Worldwide Technology, where I'm placed within their business and analytics advisory group. And that's where I'm currently at right now, through OPT, as before. So, and I can go more into that if we want to later.
Thank you. Let me invite Niranjan to go next, and then Vaishali.
Hi everyone, this is Nirajan. So I'm actually from Nepal. I completed my undergrad in electronics and communication engineering initially in Nepal, and then after that I worked like for 4.5 years for a medical distributor company back in Nepal as a critical care engineer, looking after the service of different medical devices. I was in touch with the GW admission of director from long time, and like it was back in 2018, and then finally I landed at GW in 2021 August. So I completed my master's in biomedical engineering from GW, and right now I'm working as a field service engineer for a medical device company called Cepheid, and they are like the Danhar American Molecular Diagnostic Company. And then yeah, so the journey has been fantastic at the moment, and right now I'm like in California attending the training for the company I recently joined in January.
Okay, great, Nirajan. And Vaishali?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Vaishali Sivakumar. I'm originally from Sri Lanka. I actually completed my undergrad degree in biomedical engineering at a university in Chennai, India. And then I moved back to Sri Lanka, where I worked for a research institute as a project manager and later on as a business development executive, mostly working on developing new technologies. I moved to the US in January of 2020, and I applied to the GW and started in fall of 2020. I completed my master's in engineering and technology management last year. And I got a job while I was working on my master's. I'm currently working as a program manager for a biomedical and biotechnology company called Thermo Fisher Scientific. So yeah.
All right, great. So I know Anya has done this already about her motivations and what got her to GW. But if Vaishali, Nirajan, and Hildur, if you can also talk about what led you to choose GW for your master's. Why didn't you go at some other university in the US? There are so many other options. What motivated you specifically for GW?
I can go first. So one, coming from Iceland, I really knew that I did want to come to the US because everything here is on such a bigger scale than what I know from Iceland. Iceland is a tiny country, and I just know that the opportunities is going to be much greater here. One thing I also knew that I wanted to do was study in a big city. I wanted to be where there was going to be life around me, where I would enjoy myself while I was studying, but also I could see myself living after I graduated. So that's why kind of DC was a no-brainer for me. It's a beautiful city. I really enjoy living here, and I'm still, again, living here after I even graduated. I looked into a couple of schools, and I really wanted to have this focus in operations research. And that's kind of why I landed on GW, because I know we have a focus in that here. Like we talked about before, we also have the opportunity to work with other departments. So yeah, after looking into a couple of different schools, this was where I landed.
Vaishali?
Yeah. So I selected GW for 3 reasons. One was because when I moved to the US, I moved to the East Coast. I moved to Virginia, and I was looking for universities in and around Baltimore, Washington, DC, and Virginia. Second, when I was looking at the ranking of universities, GW popped up, like it was a well-reputed university. And thirdly, when I wanted to do my master's, I wanted to get into a university that gave me flexibility on selecting the courses that would help me, go into a career path that I wanted. So I was initially interested in technology transfer, intellectual property, but I also wanted to go into look a little bit into finance. And so when I was comparing the courses offered by different universities in DC, I noticed that GW had that option where you could pick the courses that you wanted, and it had like the right, the right course structure for me. And so that matched, and that's how I selected GW.
All right. Nirajan, I'm going to change my question slightly for you. So the Washington, DC location, right? Each one of you spoke about this. if you can throw some more light on how did you leverage that location? How do you take advantage of being in DC? And what kind of perks do you get by being there? So Anya, if you want to jump in, feel free. Niranjan, if you want to take a shot at this, feel free. And I can loop in others as well.
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So I think being in DC is one of the exciting things, especially like you get to see a lot of stuff around what's going on. Like there are a lot of museums around. I got to explore all different museums while I was studying at GW. And apart from that, I think the weather is also good. And then, so yeah, one of the most exciting thing was like while studying at GW was like I could go around whenever. The White House was pretty close to the university, you know. So whenever like I used to say like around where do you study, and I say like at GW, and which is right close to like Washington Monument or like close to like White House, and then that was a fun part. Like whenever I wanted to walk around, I could just walk around and enjoy. So that was something the best part of being in DC, and then studying at GW, because you have a lot of opportunities all around to explore around and learn the American culture. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Anya, do you want to come in over here?
I definitely have a similar experience. Just because I grew up on an island, so a city life was very different for me. Being able to navigate, just like the city life, because GW is just immersed, and it just like is morphed into the rest of the city, which is really cool, I think. So that was my favorite part, just being able to walk around, learn. Something that was new for me is how busy the city is and how everybody just walks around, and just a walk. It's just such a walkable city with metro and everything. So I enjoyed that because, hey, there's to get anywhere, there's like only cars. So just, being able to just like go to all the different monuments, like you said, I kind of had a similar experience with it. Just trying to figure out American culture.
That's great. And I would totally agree with this. When I was there last, I think I did some 35,000 steps in one day. And it was the most amazing time walking around the whole city. So really vouch for that. I'm going to change tracks and kind of get more into the careers related and questions around the job hunt. So to each one of you, how did you use the resources offered by the university, right? So Jessica spoke about a lot of resources being available to you from the university. What did each one of you do to find the best opportunity for yourself? How did you go ahead with the job hunt process? Vaishali,
I can go
you want to
first.
start?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually started looking for a job last year. So 4 months before I knew I was going to graduate. So when I started looking for a job, I definitely used VMOC that Jessica spoke about to, cater my resume according to the American standards, because it was very different the way I had done resumes in Sri Lanka. So I initially used that, and it was really a helpful tool to help you, proof read and do spelling checks and all of that. So that's the first thing that I did. Secondly, I networked. I actually reached out to my past professors to tell them that I was looking for a job, and if they had any leads to let me know. That's actually a very resourceful, first approach, going to your professors. And I definitely used alumni a contact list that was on the GW website. And I started reaching out to different alumni through LinkedIn. I think it was so great for me to see so many people respond back and actually put me in contact with the respective company HR. And so that was really a great thing for me. So that was another thing. So definitely network. I used Handshake. For sure, I used Handshake, and I got a few opportunities through Handshake, but it takes a while. So those are some of the resources that I used, some of the resources offered by the university that I used. So I was actually going to use the career counseling, but I got a job before I wanted to go into that. So yeah, those were some of the resources that I used.
All right. Hildur, Niranjan, Anya, did you do anything differently or any other resources that you leveraged?
Yes. So one thing, in addition to what Vaishali did, was I took advantage of the CV review with the career counselor. Again, like we've talked about before here, I did have a CV from Iceland, but it tends to be a little bit different to what we're used to here in the States. So I got some help with just making sure to modify my CV and making sure that it would be fitting for the US standards. And then again, like Vaishali talked about, I used Handshake a lot. I got both my internship with Amtrak and my now full-time job. Found both of those through Handshake. So that's a really helpful resource.
All right. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to go to the next question and maybe come back to this eventually as well. I see some questions have come in from the audience, and I'm going to pick up one from Nikhil, which is specifically about biomedical engineering. Those of you who are still in the session and can hear me, you can post your questions in the Q&A box. I can pick up the relevant ones and get you clarity on your questions as well. So feel free to post your questions in the Q&A window and I'll pick those up. Vaishali, Niranjan, both of you come from a biomedical background. So I know, Vaishali, your specialization at GW was different, but prior to that, you studied biomedical engineering in India. And Niranjan, you currently work in biomedical space itself, in medical devices space. So this question is from Nikhil about the career prospects or the emerging opportunities that you're seeing in the field of biomedical engineering. And the next question, I think, Erin, the second part of this question is going to come to you, is about, can someone from a non-engineering background with a graduate education in life sciences, so in India, you can do a bachelor's in life sciences, a 3-year bachelor's degree, can someone with that background pursue a MS in biomedical engineering at GW? So Vaishali, Niranjan, if you want to go first about the emerging opportunities, and Erin, if you can talk about eligibility later.
Yeah, so thank you for this question. Sorry, Niranjan, do you want to go ahead? Okay, yeah, so okay, awesome. So when I started looking for jobs, I was definitely interested in going into the biomedical field because that's where my undergrad was in and my specialization was in. So one advantage living in DC is that there are several life sciences, biotechnology, biomedical companies around, like Thermo Fisher and Invitrogen, Life Technologies, and so on. And if you go slightly above DC in Massachusetts, it's actually a hub for biomedical healthcare related industries. So that was one of my focus areas, definitely to go into the life sciences kind of area. And there are definitely several opportunities, maybe not in DC, but in the proximity that you could leverage, like moving forward. So yeah.
Right, Niranjan, you wanted to add something onto this?
Yeah, I think in overall, like there are a lot of opportunities if you want to do some research within the university itself, or like if you want to like explore around in different medical device companies. There are a lot of medical devices companies all around. So like initially when I started looking for the job opportunities, I figured out like there were a lot of medical devices companies, and there were like different medical devices which I've never heard of it. So like there are a lot of plenty of opportunities. So initially I had like a couple of experience with some of the devices while I was working back home, and then while I was here, like I was able to figure out like there were like a couple of professors which were and some of the students who were doing some research work and which were like quite different, and they were innovating something new. So I think if you are passionate about doing research, GW supports you at the best. Like even while I was studying at GW, I was also working as a volunteer in the lab. So, and even like I was volunteering at the GW hospital, taking care of the medical devices over there. So like there are a lot of opportunities, I say, in overall.
Interesting. And Erin, what about someone from your bachelor's in life sciences wanting to pursue a MS in biomedical engineering? Is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do get some applicants each year that don't have specifically an engineering background, but have a background in some other type of sciences, especially related to, biology or like health sciences in some way. Right now, for example, I know we're working with a dentist who's applying to the program. So the backgrounds can vary, but there's just certain basic courses in the sciences and maybe a bit of math beyond like They're usually looking for like calculus and statistics, physics course, and some lab sciences. So the degree program doesn't necessarily matter as much as just making sure you have enough of a background to succeed in the engineering type courses. So that is something that our faculty will evaluate closely when you apply to the program. They'll look at your background, your transcript course by course, and make sure that they believe you can be successful in the graduate program. But yes, we definitely have students coming from non-engineering backgrounds each year. Yeah.
All right. And Erin, on the same lines, I'm just going to take the next question from Yuvraj as well. Do you accept people who have pursued their undergrad education through distance education? So they haven't been full-time university students, but pursued it through a distance learning model. Is that still acceptable?
I have to be honest and say I haven't got this question from the international audience, but I believe so. As long as your university is accredited in your home country and your degree is recognized, so it shouldn't be a problem. If you are concerned about those things and you want to ask further, you're always welcome to email my team. So it's engineering@gwu.edu. And just email us with your transcript attached, and we'll be happy to take a look. And if we need to consult someone else, we'll always do that and let you know for sure that you're eligible for the programs.
All right, great. The next question I have is from Vaishnavi, who is looking for, who's trying to understand how difficult is it to get into cybersecurity as a domain. I'm not sure if Anya or Hildur, if you come from such a background, but if Jessica, if you can throw some light on this, is that how easy or difficult it is to find something in cybersecurity without any previous job experience in that domain?
Sure, I'm happy to address this. Cybersecurity is a very skills-based field, so it really comes down to, I mean, education is very important, but skills are very important within cybersecurity. So if you're taking skills even outside of education, through courses online, through hobbies, it's how you can display or express that you have skill sets. And as a GW student, as a C student, you would get access to LinkedIn Learning for free. So taking LinkedIn Learning courses, like how you can express that you have the skill set, can help you get into cybersecurity. So cybersecurity and tech itself is a very skills-driven field. So it's figuring out ways to kind of close that skills gap and express how can you show that you have the relevant skill set for cybersecurity or for whatever like niche within cybersecurity you're trying to get into. So really focus on developing the relevant skill set.
Right, that makes sense. And I think, Jessica, continuing on similar lines, right? I think there are a lot of questions coming around the scope in a particular industry. So Ram wants to know the opportunities for mechanical engineering grads if they pursue a MS in mechanical engineering. And similarly, someone is looking to, okay, I'm going to come into the next one eventually, but for mechanical engineering, any insight or any advantages of being based in DC?
Yeah, so again, DC, there are so many opportunities for all different employers, especially if you're interested in working. Like I said, DC has become a very big opportunity for tech now, for those like non-tech companies. So think about outside of big tech, think about all of those types of employers. So it really comes down to the type of employer you're interested in, but DC has a huge advantage. And also you have to think about the government is located there. So many employers are supporting the government in different ways. And depending on what type of employer you're interested in, a lot of them potentially are in the Northern Virginia, in the DMV area. And I do recommend, again, if you're looking at specific information for each program, like I said, we have more specific information on where our graduates have went on our website. So was it for mechanical engineering?
Yes.
For example, when we're talking about mechanical engineering, We have recently had a lot of students go into defense contractors. So again, that is going back to supporting the government, organizations that are supporting the government. But also we have a lot of other organizations. I don't know, am I able to share my screen still?
Sure,
Okay.
you should be able to.
So this is what our program outcomes look like, our career outcomes, and each program actually has one. So I definitely recommend, if there's a specific program you're interested in, taking a look, because you can get an idea of where a lot of the students, where the alumni have ended up getting jobs, if it's international where they've ended up getting jobs, the salary range, which is always helpful to see what salaries a lot of the graduates have ended up receiving. But again, what's nice is you get a good understanding of a lot of the bigger employers that graduates have ended up working for. And let's say potentially you're interested in working for Booz Allen. You could even click and see, okay, fewer than 5 respondents got a job with Booz Allen. And I believe this was updated in 2022, November 2022. So it's pretty recent data. And again, each program has this. So let's say we're looking at computer science. You're interested in the computer science data. Again, we had a lot of graduates get a job at Amazon. 53 respondents got employed with Amazon. So this is a really great way to get an idea of potential employers that our alumni have gotten hired with for each program, and see, does this look like where maybe you would want to work at? And again, the salary range too can be really helpful. Is this going to align with the type of lifestyle you're looking for? If this is the degree program you're interested in, and this really gives you some great data. And you can find this right from our website. Each program, again, has this information.
I think this is a wonderful tool, and to the audience, you can really leverage this, right? You can really find out the kind of opportunities that open up to you after each program. Erin, let me bring you into this picture as well, because questions around careers, I think, is very common. You face them very often. So any insights on the emerging opportunities? I know Amazon is building its second headquarters right in DC, right? It's right across the river from where GW is. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So we have been fortunate to have a lot of sort of new technology growth in especially the last 5 years. The other thing I would add is, we talk a lot about the government being based in DC, and for international students, sometimes they think, well, I might not be able to work for the US government, so that might not be an option for me. So is this location still a good choice for me? And I would just urge you to consider the secondary industries that each thing produces. So for example, a lot of tech companies, they want to move closer and be near the government because they're working on things, on policies, on regulations, et cetera. And especially new technologies, emerging technologies. We have a lot of, sort of the airplane and the automobile industry and whatever growing around the DC area, electric automobiles, et cetera. And that's what a lot of our students are interested in, working on that kind of thing, especially in MAE, for example, in mechanical. Those are often having branches around the DC area because of the regulatory industry in our area. They want the technology to be close to the government, their technology leaders to have easy access to government as they can sort of influence decisions that are being made. So that's something to think. I mean, that's about our location, but you can think that way about all locations across the US, any universities that you're looking for. It's not just what's located right in that area, but what does that draw in? You can also ask questions to universities, like what organizations frequently recruit at your university, or companies fly across the US all the time. So you don't need to be, for example, studying in Silicon Valley to work in Silicon Valley, but are those recruiters coming to your university, coming to the university that you look for? That's a good question to ask when you're considering options.
That makes sense. Erin, I know you are a little hard pressed on time, but I do have one more question to ask you. I'm going to come to that very shortly. But Jessica, in the
Sure.
meanwhile, if I can request you to share the link to the tool that you're showing just a while ago, I think that would be great. I think it's a great resource for the audience to have, and they'll truly appreciate it. Erin, the
Sure.
question which I wanted to ask you in the meanwhile was around the application deadline. So the priority application deadline was the 15th of Jan, so that's already gone. Are you still accepting applications for the fall 2023 intake? And those who apply now, do they still stand a chance of getting an admit if they apply?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. If you're interested in GW in our graduate programs, specifically for MS, we are still taking applications, and we'll take them for at least another few weeks or a month. If you want to be considered for merit scholarships, which a lot of students do want to be considered for, we would urge you to apply very soon in the next week or two for this fall, because we are currently reviewing and issuing those scholarships. So that opportunity will diminish over time, but we will continue to take applications for the program. If you're interested in PhD by chance, the next available semester is spring 24.
All right. And Erin, I understand those who are attending this session today are also eligible to get an application fee waiver.
Oh, yes, we're happy to do that. Let me put something in the chat for you, maybe that you can share with the audience.
Sure.
Yep, thank you. I'll put it in the chat here shortly.
All right, great. So those of you who are looking to apply for the fall 2023 intake, as Erin said, the window is still open for the next couple of weeks. Go ahead and make an application. They're still evaluating applications for scholarships, merit scholarships. So this is a great opportunity. I'm just going to repost the application fee waiver code, which Erin has shared in the chat box. I'm just going to put it out there again for your reference. So if you can use this waiver code while making the application, and the application fee would get waived off for you. I know there are more questions coming in, and there are a lot of more insights that you're looking for. Unfortunately, we are running a little over time, and I know it's the start of day in the US, so everyone has their jobs or offices to get to, and Anya has a vacation to get back to. So before we wrap up, I want to invite all the alums to share some parting advice or words for prospective GW students, right? Aspirants. So anything that you want to share or give advice to them on, that would be great. Starting with you, Anya.
Yeah, sure. I think the best advice I can give is to make sure that you have a great relationship with your professors. Your professors are such your core network within during your program, but also after. I still regularly, monthly, I have dinner with 3 of my professors, just because they have just been so invaluable to me during the process, especially as an international student, coming into the US. They're great. So really keep that relationship with your professors. Another thing that I wanted to mention, but I'll mention now, keep up with your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn is the best tool in the job market that you can have. And you constantly will have recruiters reaching out, as you go through kind of your job prospects and everything, and they are always helpful. I actually have just recently accepted a new job, leaving my current job and going to them because of, recruiters and everything. So make sure and keep your LinkedIn. Also enjoy the journey. I mean, you're going to a new area, you're leaving home, which is very scary. Just take advantage of all of the opportunities that GW offers. I mean, it's amazing. There's so many resources, so many things available to you. Take advantage of that and just enjoy the ride, because I promise you towards the end, it's sweet.
And that's great advice. Vaishali, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with what Anya said. Have great relationships with your professors, and definitely utilize everything that GW offers to you. For example, I attended a simple Python programming workshop that the GW library offered over a 4-week period. I ended up using that knowledge for a research that I worked on for almost a year with one of my professors. And I ended up publishing that paper as well. So utilize everything that GW gives you and socialize, network. GW also has several clubs like the marketing club and, the women in STEM club. So, try to join these clubs and be an active participant in the community that GW tries to build. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Nirajan, go ahead.
Yeah, so the thing that I would suggest is like as Vaishali and Anya said, like utilizing the resources at most which GW is offering. At the same time, like attending different events. And career-wise, I would suggest like to start early on looking for the stuffs and then preparing, especially like maybe there are like platforms which was mentioned earlier, like VMOC. So start preparing your resume from the start. I would suggest look around for the opportunities or internship opportunities, and then yeah, prepare in advance like the companies that you want to apply. I would say like from the start when you are joining GW, so that you know what things are going on or what things are not working on, and you have time to improve on them, so that when you graduate you have the thing that you want. So yeah.
That makes sense. So start early, network well, build those connections with the faculty, with the professors, the alumni. You never know whose reference may help you crack that next big job that you're dreaming of. So great advice over there. Jessica, Erin, as we are wrapping up, if the audience have more questions, I know we have left some questions unanswered today. If there are more questions, if Erin, you can share the email address in the chat, that would be great. And Jessica, any way if the audience have questions around careers and career services at GW, then is there a way for them to get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, I'll put in our email as well for C's Careers.
Great. So I'm posting to the audience. What I've done is if you go to the chat window, you'll see that I've posted a lot of resources over there. I've posted the application fee waiver code, which is SEED MC Feb 2023. I posted the link to the tool which Jessica was showing about the career outcomes that become possible for you after GW. So that has the average salary, the spread, and all the other information about companies that recruit for that particular specialization, that particular course. So I posted a link to that tool as well. I've also posted the link to the application portal. So if you are looking to apply to GW this year, you can click on that link and get your application started. As Erin mentioned, they are still evaluating for scholarships for this year, still admitting candidates for this year. So if you are looking at a 2023 start, you can get started on that particular link. And I am posting the links to the email addresses for GW Career Services and GW Admissions both. So if you have any further queries, you can reach out to them and get your doubts clarified over there. I know the alumni have had a hard stop. Everyone had to drop off. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this session. Thank you to the GW team, to all of you for joining in. So Jessica, Erin, Vaishali, Hildur, Anya, Nirajan, all of you who joined us. So thank you for doing this. This has been an extremely insightful session in this uncertain times when people are worried about volatility, about the job market. I think such comforting words and insights about the market can really give them a lot of confidence. To the audience, one thing which I would say, usually it's a belief that a recession or volatile job market is actually a very good time to go and study, because you upskill yourself at that time and come back into the job market when things are looking up again. So this could be 2023, could be your opportunity, could be the year for you. So make the most of it and make a great application. So thank you for joining us again. Have a great evening to those in India, and those of you who are in North America, have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much, Sanjay.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Anya. Have a good vacation, and you guys have a good day. Take care. Bye. Bye.